An insectivore is a carnivorous plant or animal that eats insects. An alternative term is entomophage, which also refers to the human practice of eating insects. The first insectivorous vertebrates were amphibians. When they evolved 400 million years ago, the first amphibians were piscivores, with numerous sharp conical teeth, much like a modern crocodile. The same tooth arrangement is however also suited for eating animals with exoskeletons. Thus the ability to eat insects is an extension of piscivory. At one time, insectivorous mammals were scientifically classified in an order called Insectivore. This order is now abandoned, as not all insectivorous mammals are closely related. Most of the insectivore taxa have been reclassified. Those that have not yet been reclassified remain in the order Eulipotyphla. Although individually small, insects exist in enormous numbers. They number over 1 million described species, and some of those species occur in enormous numbers. Accordingly, insects make up a very large part of the animal biomass in almost all non-marine, non-polar environments. It has been estimated that the global insect biomass is in the region of 1,012 kilograms, with an estimated population of 10–18 organisms. Many creatures depend on insects as the primary diet, and many that do not nevertheless use insects as a protein supplement, particularly when they are breeding. Examples of insectivores include different kinds of species of carp, frogs, lizards, nightingales, swallows, echidnas, numbats, anteaters, armadillos, aardvarks, pangolins, aardwolves, and bats. Even large mammals are recorded as eating insects. The sloth bear is perhaps the largest insectivore. Insects also can be insectivores. Examples are dragonflies, hornets, ladybugs, and praying mantises. Insectivory also features to various degrees amongst primates, such as marmosets, tamarins, tarsiers, galagos, and ii. There is some suggestion that the earliest primates were nocturnal, arboreal insectivores. Insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants are plants that derive some of the nutrients from trapping and consuming animals of protozoan. The benefit they derive from the catch varies considerably. In some species it might include a small part of the nutrient intake, and in others, it might be an indispensable source of nutrients. As a rule, however, such animal food, however valuable it might be as a source of certain critically important minerals, is not the plant's major source of energy, which they generally derive mainly from photosynthesis. Insectivorous plants might consume insects and other animal material trapped adventitiously, though most species to which such food represents an important part of their intake are specifically, often spectacularly, adapted to attract and secure adequate supplies. The prey animals typically, but not exclusively, comprise insects and other arthropods. Plants highly adapted to reliance on animal food use a variety of mechanisms to secure the prey, such as pitfalls, sticky surfaces, hair trigger snaps, bladder traps, entangling furriness, and lobster-pot trap mechanisms. Also known as carnivorous plants, they appear adapted to grow in places where the soil is thin and poor in nutrients, especially nitrogen, such as acidic bogs and rock outcroppings. Insectivorous plants include the Venus flytrap, several types of pitcher plants, butterworts, sundews, bladderworts, the waterwheel plant, Brocchinia, and many members of the Bromeliaceae. The list is far from complete, and some plants, such as Rhoridula species, exploit the prey organisms mainly in a mutualistic relationship with other creatures, such as resident organisms that contribute to the digestion of prey. In particular, animal prey organisms supply carnivorous plants with nitrogen, but they also are important sources of various other soluble minerals, such as potassium and trace elements that are in short supply in environments where the plants flourish. This gives them a decisive advantage over other plants, whereas in nutrient-rich soils they tend to be outcompeted by plants adapted to aggressive growth where nutrient supplies are not the major constraints. Technically, these plants are not strictly insectivorous, as they consume any animal that they can secure and consume. The distinction is trivial, however, because not many primarily insectivorous organisms exclusively consume insects. Most of those that have such a restrictive diet, such as certain parasitoids and hunting wasps, are specialized to exploit particular species, not insects in general. Indeed, much as large mantids and spiders will do, the larger varieties of pitcher plant have been known to consume vertebrates such as small rodents and lizards. Charles Darwin wrote the first well-known treatise on carnivorous plants in 1875.